What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Michael Warbucks Show. Today is What the Friday, and if you do not know what the Friday is, so we talk about a bunch of crazy stories that happened throughout the week, like this guy who wasted his 911 call saying, "Hey, I'm invisible." Why in the world would you ever waste your call saying that you're invisible? Let's get on with the show! Our first story, let's talk about the lovely state of Ohio. Now, there's all going to come a time in our lives when we might have to put our parents or our grandparents into some sort of nursing home. But how would you like to find out that the nursing home that you put your grandparents or parents in is actually a hidden meth lab? The blast killed one person and injured 6 others. And I guess it was a shake and bake gone wrong. Just when you thought old people were safe, it was probably one of them. Probably some old grandma replacing Viagra pills with meth. Makes sense. All right, let's move on to some quick news stories. Police were called to a church in San Diego, and they noticed some strange activity going down. So a couple officers formed a perimeter around the church, and they spotted 39-year-old Joshua Baker. He was carrying a white trash can with items of the church inside of it, and he was wearing purple tights and a tutu, and his bits and pieces were hanging out everywhere. Must have been a Catholic church you were trying to rob. Next up, let's talk about 3-year-old Peyton Bushnell. She had to get invasive surgery done on her stomach and intestinal regions. Why? Because she swallowed 37 buckyball magnets. Her parents just thought she was having the stomach flu, and here these magnets were actually ripping holes in her stomach lining, intestinal lining. But she is all and well right now. Parents, aren't you supposed to, I don't know, keep choking hazards or things that are small away from your kids? Good job on parenting skills. Now let's move on to everybody's favorite segment. Oh, Florida. There were these 14 girls, anywhere between 17 and 19 years old, and they were driving down the road with their hazard lights on. So as they're driving along, they were kind of waiting for a good Samaritan to come and give them a hand. But here what was actually going down is when a 21-year-old Cameron Castro came to help him out, they mugged him and stole all of his money. And the reason they needed the money is so they could have some supplies to go and party with. I'm sure they just needed to buy chips and dips. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. This is like an urban legend. Now, I am never, ever going to slow down for someone that has their hazard lights on. Nope, not going to happen. Sorry for your luck. These 4 girls ruined it for you. And next up from Florida, speaking of good Samaritans, sometimes being one doesn't really pay off. Let's talk about Roger Dean Witt. I'm going to keep you from seeing this photo here for a couple seconds. He approached a Florida highway patrolman at a Steak and Shake, and he said, "Hey, here's a license that I found. You might want to have this." But unfortunately, when you approach a police officer, you might not want to have some of these things in order for you. Like, you probably shouldn't be wearing makeup that makes you look like a masked robber. You shouldn't have alcohol-infused breath, and you probably shouldn't have a drug pipe in your gold purse. There's his picture. I knew it would be worth it. So next time you try to do a good deed, you might want to make sure that you're sober and not high at the same time. He calls that his mojo pipe. Yeah, buddy, you got tons of mojo going on for you. Next up, let's talk about this funeral home. Now, if you've ever had that put on a funeral or anything like that, you know that it is quite an expensive ordeal. So you might be asking yourself, well, how do I score a free funeral? All you have to do is find out that one of the funeral workers sexually molests the dead bodies. Once this funeral home found out what this guy was doing, they automatically went into damage control. The owner of the funeral home called the family and was like, "We found out that the body was kind of mistreated." And then the funeral director said, "You know what, if you don't tell the police about this, we will be happy to give you the $11,000 funeral for free." But the family did call the cops. The funeral home is being investigated. So if you can't afford a funeral, make sure you go to the most shady funeral home in your area. Chances are you could probably score a free funeral. As sick as it may be, but it could end up saving you $11,000. God, that sounds horrible. Hey, times are tough. People got to do what they got to do. And our final story today, we haven't had a best of in a while. So I've given you a link along with everything else we talked about today to the 10 best dumbest criminals caught on camera. Like, one of them is a sketchy robber who shoots himself in the foot. Another is a guy who tries to make a getaway very slowly on a motorized wheelchair. And 3, a guy tries to shoplift while he's inside of a department store right in front of a cop. People, once a thief, always a thief. So if you do want to go check out those wonderful 10 things, the link is in the description below. Go enjoy it. They're rather hilarious. All right, guys, that's going to be today's show. Don't forget to leave a comment on the question of the day, which is, what was your favorite story and why? And also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to share it. Don't forget to put it in your favorites. And if you're new to this channel, Don't forget to subscribe. And you guys have a great day. Have a great weekend. And I will see you back here on Tuesday. We'll see you then, guys.